There is something about stories and myths that inspire us very deeply when it comes to humans. I've been listening to some songs lately from the 60s and 50s and the 70s, and they're all about stories. For example, I actually pulled them up. So the first one is The House of the Rising Sun, a classic from the 1964, an amazing song, obviously, but the lyrics is what really is so inspiring about the song. I mean, look at the modern music, it's very shallow, and if you really like have knowledge when it comes to music, and I don't want to say that I have, but if you've listened to many stuff, you realize that modern music is very empty, it's very shallow, it's very hollow. The reason behind it, I think, is the fact that the new music that's being made is it doesn't have a story to tell. There is no deep search behind the song. There is no way you can find yourself in the text, or you can kind of make a scenario or use your imagination to create what is being sang in the song. The House of the Rising Sun is very special one because, I mean, listen to this. There is a house in New Orleans, they call it the Rising Sun, and it's been the ruin of many a poor boy. Dear God, I know I was one, and so on and so on. I won't go through all the verses. I mean, lately I've been listening to all kinds of stuff, and I've been stuck for a while on jazz and old country American music. I was not a fan of old American music, to be honest. I was listening to old Balkan stuff, and all the songs had like stories, and they didn't even have authors because they're hundreds of years old. And it's so special when you listen to them because they all have a story to tell, but there is not a specific thing they're chasing. They leave so much to up to you. That is why I feel like old music is so much more than modern one, not only because they have legacy that they've built throughout the generations, but also there is more to the text. They, you can feel that the writers really sat down and they were really like trying to tell something. You kind of absorb it and you add more through your imagination, and when you listen to it, it's like a movie, bro. It's so deep. The House of the Rising Sun is one. Another one that I also searched up before making this video is A Horse with No Name, a different kind of music. This one is from 71, so a little younger than the first one. But this one is also a good one. I mean, the song starts with, on the first part of the journey, I was looking at all the life. There were plants and birds and rocks and things. There were sand and hills and rings. I mean, what the fuck, bro? Like, which song that is made like 3, 4, 5 years ago is starting that way? Nothing is fucking starting that way. Everybody is trying to hook you up with some bullshit line that rhymes or that is like trendy, or they use some weird noises. Look, I don't want to say that music has become bad. I think there are some very nice, very talented artists out there that you just need to find. But I'm talking specifically about the old stuff. Because I was listening to this, it inspired me to make this video. I was going to the gym today and I was listening to this song, and I was like, okay, today I probably will make a video about talking about like myths and stories and legends that have been lost or they have become less important in our societies. I'm not only talking about music here. I wanted to give you an example because music is like, it's artistic, it's expressive. You can like really go in all directions and you can make something out of nothing. But there's also like, when you sit with somebody who's like 70 or 80, even 60, like they have stories that they tell you. A story is probably the most inspiring thing a human can produce, and probably the most inspiring thing a human can hear, understand, and then like absorb and kind of add to his own character. It's very interesting because the new generation wants stories, they love stories, but there are less and less people and less art that produces stories. We can talk about paintings, we can talk about many different ways that art can produce stories. Music is one of them. I mean, everybody listens to music. That's why I took it as an example, because everybody will understand it. I mean, if you listen to like new trap and nothing else, like you probably won't, because sure, you might listen to like Kendrick and they have crazy stories that they tell and it's nice. But also you have like Future, who, I mean, he kind of raps only about horse and nightclubs and strip clubs. I mean, it's its own art, but I feel like it doesn't stamp as deep as these, like by America or the Animals. this goes all the way to like myths and legends, local myths and local legends. And an interesting one is the Odyssey. The movie just came out. I mean, it recently came out, and I think it's loved. I mean, I haven't watched it yet. I read the book, like, actually talked about it, I think, just before the movie came out, like maybe in April or May. I talked about the fact that I was reading the book, and the story is just so inspiring. I mean, we know it's mythology and it's probably not real. I mean, of course it's not real. I mean, who knows, but it's probably not real, and it's so old. The author is like, it's Homer, but nobody really knows who Homer is. Or is it a group of people? Like, nobody knows who Homer is. That's even more special when you don't know who the author is of these mystical stories and mythologies and whole worlds that were created so long time ago that it feels almost like it was real back in the day, you know. And it's so special. It kind of provokes something in you, especially as a man. When you hear a story of a man that did this and that, it's so inspiring. And these songs, I mean, they're countless examples. This is just scratching the surface because I am just starting to listen to this kind of music. I really insist to you, if you have somebody like in your neighborhood, he's like 80 or something, go and talk to them, because they won't be here for a long time. In the next 5 to 10 years, they probably will not be here on earth anymore. But go talk to them and just let them tell their story, and let them just tell things that they want to tell you. If you have somebody you can talk to that is like 80 plus, for example, go talk to them, because they're like a hidden gem. They'll tell you some very interesting stories, some interesting like myths about your city, about like their life, their first love and everything. And you'll feel inspired, and you'll feel like you've unlocked a new way of thinking or a new philosophy, because their philosophy of life is so much more different than yours. And you probably don't even have a philosophy of life, because you've been here for like 20 something years, from which 15 you were a kid. So basically you were here for like 80. If you're 25, realistically you've lived on earth for like 5 years maybe, or 10 years, like real living, not being a kid or a baby, like actual life. And they've been here for like 60 plus years. I mean, that's crazy, right? It's a huge difference. So they have a lot more to tell you than you think. You might see them as, you know, old crooks and they know nothing. They have like dementia or whatever, but the reality is they're probably a lot smarter than you think. They have a lot more to tell than you think, and their brains are a lot different than you think. They've developed in a different way, in a different time and everything. And I really encourage you to do that. I have some old grandpas around here, and I've been saying to myself that I want to visit them and just have a conversations with them, because they're very nice and they have interesting things to tell me. Probably I had this thought a long time ago that we have lost the stories, we've lost the myths that were driving the societies. People believed in these things. The great stories always stay afloat, but we're not gonna talk about them because you can find them online probably. I'm talking about your local myths, your local legends, your local stories from people you pass by your whole life, but you don't know anything about them, but they're very old. So their stories, it's like a time capsule in a way. Because imagine somebody telling you something about your town from 1968, something that happened in the summer of 1968. That's crazy, right? Your parents weren't around back then. Like, that's so long ago. I wanted to say in this video, I went all over the place, but the main idea was that we lost stories, we lost the myth of life. And because of this, we are less inspired than we used to be. I think creativity is really connected with stories. It's really connected with us listening to somebody telling us something without really having any evidence, but believing him and kind of imagining how it used to be or how it was. Or when you read a story like that is very inspiring by somebody who has lived a long time ago or has had a rough or a crazy life in a way. You know, I truly believe it is the way to get inspired. And when I was making music, like when I was 16, 17, I was making a lot of music, I was writing a lot. And I remember like the times that I was inspired the most was when my favorite artist would like drop an album. But he was a very mysterious guy. His whole personality was his music, that was like stories and myths. I remember when I was listening to it, I was like kind of using my brain a lot more than when I was listening to somebody like rapping about gangs and drive-bys. When I'm listening to that stuff, sure, I can get hyped up and I like the song in the moment. But when that song is turned off, I pretty much forgot about it. But when I listen to this like deeper music, you could say, you get inspired. Another thing that is hurting the whole story thing is science, of course. We've been getting more and more advanced over the years, and so many stories, so many myths about like health and space and science are getting debunked because of the fact that they're getting proven wrong. When you prove something wrong, you know for a fact what it is, and you can never really truly get inspired by it because you know that water boils at 100 degrees, and you know it freezes under zero, like when it comes to zero or below it freezes. So there is no myth behind it, there is no story to kind of puzzle your brain because you know the facts. And the best stories are from like older people that tell you the story because there is no evidence, there is nothing backing it up but their own word. I really enjoy listening to stories lately, especially when it comes to music. I've always loved stories. I was always aspired to listen to stories, but I wasn't really aware why some songs hit so much deeper than others. And now when I started listening to these old country songs, the country music is very interesting because the texts are so unique. They're about different things that you would not expect to listen to. Even with my country music, the Macedonian country music, the stories are also so nice. I mean, songs about like girls and some soldier going there and coming back and the girl is taken, or about the country, about the forests, about birds and everything. And when you listen to it in the moment, the text seems so simple, but the art is hidden inside the text. It's hidden behind like the emotion that it gives you and the inspiration and the vocabulary and the richness of the lyrics. That is what makes music art, and that's what makes art so inspiring to us humans. I believe that you should broaden your realm of genres that you listen to. I also listen to jazz a lot lately, like only instruments. That's also very inspiring, by the way. You can always find nice stories. You can always pick a nice book, nice old book, and read it and feel inspired. Don't forget to listen to stories. That's I guess what's behind this video. And because I truly believe it is the best way to get inspired. It's not David Goggins, it's not any scientific facts, it's nothing like that, bro. It's these stories, it's the imagination that provokes everything inside of you, that it just colors your life and gives you so much inspiration, and it invokes emotions. That is what makes humans humans. Yeah, bro, have a nice day. This video was very spontaneous. I was planning to go out now, but I wanted to talk about this because this was very fresh in my mind. And also, I forgot to add, in the age of AI, in the age of this digitalization and this crazy technological advancements, it's very hard to obtain the stories because AI kind of is the new normal. AI is the new knowledge bucket, if you want to say. I mean, it feels like everybody, when he searches for information, everybody goes to AI. Everybody asks AI what to do, what not to do, what to say, what not to say. I mean, not everybody, but a lot of people seem to be really using AI for like daily shit. And in this modern day and age, when AI is so advanced and you can use Google for everything, you can ask Google everything and he knows everything, stories are not as useful because they don't really give you solutions, they only inspire you in a way. I mean, when you listen to some old story, you don't really get any like specific education from it that you can use for your project or whatever you're doing at the moment, or your side hustle or your career. It's a story, it's a simple story, but what that story is, it's like a jar full of candies, full of inspirations. While when you Google something, you get a straightforward answer. You don't get a story around it. That's what I wanted to say. I didn't say that in the first recording, so I just recorded this after to just say that the local and even the global stories are currently going extinct, and that's not really good. But that is what happens when you have so much information, when you're so educated. You don't really need stories to feel inspired or to get knowledge from it, because back in the day people were getting knowledge from stories, but now you can Google everything and you can ask ChatGPT or Claude, and he'll tell you what to do and what not to do, and he'll tell you every story in the world you want. But it's not the same because you're not sitting next to somebody who's lived a lot or who's been through a war or 7 divorces or whatever. You're like talking to a robot that knows everything, so it's a lot different. Stay safe out there, and I'll catch you in the next one.